Hello, I am Daniel Ionita, and in this 12th episode of our journey through Romanian poetry in English, I will present to you a poet with whose verse I resonate the most, George Bacovia. The antagonist in me, and there is a lot of that, latches onto his poetry. You will see why in a moment. As a poetry lover, I have particular soft spots, and in Romanian poetry behind Mihai Eminescu, my soft spot is for George Bacovia. I am not alluding to ranking here. Bacovia would not be in my first 4 or 5 Romanian poets. He strikes me as a bit too monochord, though he would most definitely be in my top 10. But if you ask me which poet I find the most fascinating in his verse, it is George Bacovia. September 1881, May 1957, he was born Gheorghe Vasiliu in the province of Moldova, the town of Bacău, which was to provide him with his pseudonym Bacovia, as well as the bleak provincial setting of much of his poetry. While initially pigeonholed as a neo-symbolist by critics like George Călinescu, mainly because of the nature of his debut volume Plumb in 1916, Bacovia's poetry transcended this label through elements of modernism, surrealism, imagism, expressionism, and even existentialism, according to Ion Caraion. He excels, though, through poems expressing depression, decadence, and decay. Charles Baudelaire is often mentioned in relation to Bacovia, but you feel that the great French symbolist keeps some of his verminous, decadent aesthetic in reserve, while Bacovia wears his poisoned heart on his sleeve, and both the heart and the sleeve are fascinatingly disgusting, disintegrating, and dark. It is widely assumed that the morbidity of his art was due to his suffering all his life of neurasthenia, today chronic fatigue syndrome, though often he manifested full insanity, being hospitalized a few times. He managed to have a house, reasonably modest, in Bucharest, due to his supportive, industrious, and very much down-to-earth wife, Agatha Grigorescu Bacovia. It bears noting that George Bacovia was also an accomplished musician, directing his college choir, and also a graphic artist with some notable drawings like his self-portraits. The opinions about Bacovia, the poet and the person, differ in the extreme. I quote from literary historian Nicolae Manolescu here. Bacovia was labeled in turn symbolist and anti-symbolist, post-romantic and avant-garde, modernist and postmodernist, sentimental and anti-sentimental, musical and tone-deaf, natural and histrionic, insane and faking insanity, genius and idiot. There is a famous precedent for this. While most critics concluded that Baudelaire was a genius, Sainte-Beuve characterized his work as not really belonging to literature. One thing is beyond dispute: Bacovia's insanity is unique in Romanian poetry. If there is a label for Bacovia, it might be what Hegel and Nietzsche described as Stimmung, or mood. The mood evoked in Bacovia's work, writes Alistair Ian Blythe, is one of isolation, neurosis, lovelessness, despair, and existential anguish. His poetry's decor is of muddy provincial streets, pluvial autumn weather, deserted municipal parks, claustrophobic salons, dark railway sidings, abattoirs, ramshackle slum dwellings, cemeteries, and insalubrious taverns. This eerie stage set is trodden by a cast of consumptives, alcoholics, madmen, funeral processions, suicides, the sniggering ghosts of Poe and Roinia, and the alienated, anguished persona of the poet himself, assailed by disembodied voices boding imminent self-annihilation. Fascinating. I'm not being sarcastic, I just love this stuff. But let's not make this about my poetical proclivities, I just cannot resist it. There is a legend about Bacovia, told to us by the guide at Bacovia's Bucharest house, now the George Bacovia Museum, which I went to visit with my class in my early school years. He told us that the poet would often be inspired for his poems during alcoholism-fueled insanity bouts, and would often write his poems wherever he happened to be, say on the wall of some tavern or on the panel of a tram station or wherever. The following day, once his hangover would subside, he would go and find the place without fail and copy the poem in his notebook. I could not find any credible confirmation of this story. Maybe the guide wanted to oversell the image of Bacovia the madman to impressionable, naive students, but you must admit that it sounds fascinating and in tune with the persona of the poet. In the early years of the communist regime, Bacovia was viewed with official disapproval as a decadent poet, much as Nina Cassian was. The poet entered a period of protracted obscurity. Publication of his work was officially blocked until 1956, the year in which he was allowed to publish a new collection of his pre-war poetry. In the same year, the communist state, which had decided to exploit Bacovia for his propaganda value as a proletarian poet of all things, awarded him the Order of Labor. The attitude of Bacovia himself to his newfound celebrity was typically ambiguous and ironic, as evident in the poem entitled Festiva, written on the occasion of the official celebration to mark his 75th birthday. Yes, I was in the castle of the nabobs, with crystal, mirrors, and marble. Look, I arrived like Hamlet in my inky garb. While uneven, according to critics Alex Ștefănescu and Nicolae Manolescu, George Bacovia's genius, exemplified in his first volumes such as Lead, makes him one of the most significant and influential Romanian poets. The three poems I will recite for you from Bacovia's work will therefore be from this earlier period. One of them, Lead, Plumb, the famous poem which launched him as a phenomenon in 1916, is a short poem full of emotional intensity, delivered with absolute simplicity, much as a great naive painting. Then there's the poem December. There have never been such terrifying feelings told in such a direct and simple manner. News of an inescapable terror delivered in an even, reflective voice, and therefore 100 times more terrifying. At the other end of the meteorological scale, if you like, is the poem August. In this, the heat wave kills people and decomposes their bodies, bringing with it a sense of helplessness and despair. As I said, fascinating. As we have done until now, the English recitals will come first, followed by the originals in Romanian. I hope to convert you into decadence craving, gothic, decay, morbid George Bacovia fans. Enjoy. Lead. Entombed in sleep, the caskets made of lead, with leaden flowers and funerary cloak, The crypt was windy late when I awoke, and creaking softly were the crowns of lead. How deep my love was sleeping, turned of lead. On leaden flowers I called her sadly, shrill. Alone near the corpse I felt the chill, and of its frame were drooping wings of lead. August. There are a few dead in town, my love. For this I came. I wish to let you know, upon the bier from heat inside a town, cadavers fester silently and slow. The living ones are moving, decomposed, with clay for perspiration from the heat. Today smells of cadavers, my love, and now your breast is sagging just a bit. Pour on the carpets strong perfumes and scents. Bring roses on your body to bestow. There are a few dead in town, my love. Cadavers fester silently and slow. December. Behold how December is snowing. Just gaze at the windows, my darling. Please tell them to bring some more kindling to hear how the fire is snarling. My armchair, please shift near the wood stove. A song will the storm now be humming, or maybe my days, same old goose chase. Pray teach me their symphony drumming. Please tell them to bring me the teapot. Come closer, don't linger asunder. Just read me a tale from the Arctic. The snow will entomb us deep under. How warm is your place, how becoming, and all in your house is so holy. Behold how December is snowing. Don't laugh, read ahead for our folly. The day is still lit, but what darkness! Please tell them to bring me a lamp. Behold, the snow's high now like fences and creeping up over the clamp. I am not going home for the evening. This deluge my nightmare is feeding. Behold how December is snowing. Don't laugh, remain calm, keep on reading. Plumb. Dormeau adânc sicriele de plumb și flori de plumb și funerar veșmânt. Stam singur în cavou și era vânt și scârțâiau coroanele de plumb. Dormea întors amorul meu de plumb pe flori de plumb și am început să-l strig. Stam singur lângă mort și era frig și atârnau aripile de plumb. Cuptor. Sunt câțiva morți în oraș, iubito, chiar pentru asta am venit să-ți spun. Pe catafalc de căldură în oraș încet cadavrele se descompun. Cei vii se mișcă și ei descompuși cu lutul de căldură asudat. E miros de cadavre, iubito, și azi chiar sânul tău e mai lăsat. Toarnă pe covoare parfume tari, adu roze pe tine să le pun. Sunt câțiva morți în oraș, iubito, și încet cadavrele se descompun. Decembrie. Te uită cum ninge decembrie spre geamuri, iubito, privește, mai spune să aducă jăratec și focul să aud cum troznește. Și mână fotoliul spre sobă, la horn, să ascult vijelia sau zilele mele. Tot una. Aș vrea să le învăț sinfonia. Mai spune să aducă și ceaiul și vino și tu mai aproape. Citește-mi ceva de la poluri și ningă. Zăpada ne îngroape. Ce cald e aici la tine și toate din casă mi sfinte. Te uită cum ninge decembrie. Nu râde, citește înainte. E ziua și ce întuneric. Mai spune să aducă și lampa. Te uită, zăpada-i cât gardul și-a prins promoroacă și clampa. Eu nu mă mai duc azi acasă. Potop e înapoi și înainte. Te uită cum ninge decembrie. Nu râde, citește înainte.